what did you think of this film?
Well, I need to ask you first because you've only seen like part of the first one, right? Or you've seen just
I
the first one?
I think I've seen just the first one, but I don't remember it because it was so long ago.
Yeah. Were you confused the whole time?
If you were confused the whole time, I was definitely more confused.
I wasn't. I understood.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
I was. Oh, I freaking banged my. I was confused for a good chunk of it.
We're good, like the first hour.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Like, I feel like I have a basic knowledge of what goes on in the Matrix universe, but like towards the end, I kind of figured it out a little bit more. But then I was still kind of lost throughout the whole thing.
The most confusing thing is at the beginning because you're trying to figure out, okay, who's who. Because
I kind of figured that out easily. It was quick.
Yeah, but I mean, like, trying to figure out why it's them instead of why do they look different and all that. But once you get past that, you're like, okay, sure. Cool explanation, but okay.
Yeah. Oh, so in the beginning,
In
I don't even know what the heck was her name, the blue hair chick.
Oh, Bugs?
Bugs. Yeah. So when she saw him on the rooftop, but he was bald, I made sure to screenshot that. I was just like, wait, that's wrong. Like, why is he bald?
Because...
And then...
Okay, go ahead. No, were you gonna...
Well, yeah, because we know later why, because... But then later on, when they were having coffee, I noticed, like, in the reflection, he was an old man, and I was just like, wait, why is he... So he looks different to everyone else, but...
His perception of himself doesn't change, but the program that they, like, or whatever, that they... What do they call it? His DES or whatever is something in his digital, like...
DSI, I think?
Yeah, his... Like, how he something is like perceived as code or whatever looks different.
Yeah.
So that's why it took them so long to actually find him. So, like, when he's taking the pills in his bathroom, if you look in his mirror reflection, it's that old guy. He's on top of the roof, it's the old guy. And then when he's having coffee with Trinity, the reflection of her in the table is some blonde chick.
Is also some
blonde chick, so.
And that's why her husband had laughed. That's like,
she looks
this
nothing.
Looks like me, doesn't it?
Looks nothing
like her.
Funny thing, do you know who Chad is?
I actually don't.
Chad.
He's probably like one of the producers or something. No, right?
He is. His real name is Chad Stahelski. He was Keanu's stunt double for the Matrix movies.
Really?
So, and he also directs the John Wick movies.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was his little cameo. Which is funny because it's like Trinity still ended up with quote unquote Neo. Yeah. Because he was just Neo's stunt double. So that's fun little nod funny. There. Yeah.
So regardless of what universe she's in, she just ends up with Neo regardless.
Well, it's the same universe.
Well, you know what I mean.
It's a new Matrix.
Whether in the Matrix
it's a
or
new
without.
Matrix, a new power, as the Oracle said.
Yeah. So, does this have any like link to the older ones?
Oh, dude.
Besides
the constant flashbacks that they made.
Besides the constant flashbacks,
and deja vu
that
they kept showing.
What I mean is like how is the continuity between the films? Like, let's say like the last one compared to this one.
How Revolutions ends versus how this one picks up. Well,
yeah,
this
that's kind of
apparently picks up 60 years later.
Okay.
So the time span between that hasn't really been defined. Mm-hmm. There was like an online game that was like debunked as to not canon or whatever, but it could definitely still fit within that timeline because in that game Morpheus dies, and in this movie he's already dead, and they don't explain why. So it could. I mean, he would have died of old age by that point anyway, 60 years later. So yeah. I mean, it makes sense that he was dead, but it would have been cool to see Mr. Fishburne back.
Freaking Neo's like 20 years, and they're like, no, it's been way longer than that, man. It's been 60 years.
Yeah, well, it was 20. He was perceived in that version of the Matrix for 20 years.
Yeah. So So can you explain to me the difference between like the old Matrix and the new Matrix? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, because like the quote unquote new Matrix is like the new upload that they talked about. That like the purge that they kept mentioning. It was like
Mm-hmm.
they purged the old Matrix and all the problems with it and then created this new one. So
Mm.
like the old Matrix is the first three movies and this is the new Matrix, and then they threaten in this movie to just revert it back to the old Matrix to fix everything, but they never get to it. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's just a
So,
new
so
version that they created to prison or to help prison Neo and Trinity because they're the
right,
ones that run this new Matrix. Their pods
right.
are the ones that that are like the
Powering it.
power. It's the main power source of the new Matrix because
Right,
of the
right. Because they were
drive
talking
that
about
they
the
have. Yeah,
energy.
the energy
Yeah.
and drive that they have to find what's missing, and that they're willing to do anything, like they've shown before, is more powerful than just all those mindless people living out their lives
All the
oblivious.
sheep.
Oblivious.
So, okay, who was Neil Patrick Harris?
He
Like,
was the analyst who
what does that
he's
mean,
the
though?
new, well, that's just his name in the movie, is the analyst. It's what he's referred to as. But
Right,
he's
right,
he's
right.
revealed to be the new architect. The architect is the
Okay.
one that he's the AI that designed the Matrix and designed everything.
Right,
So
right,
he's the
right.
one,
Okay. That,
he's the head of the AI of the Matrix. He's not the head of the machines, but he's the head of the Matrix, which
right.
is why he was so close to Keanu to keep him in check and all that. So yeah,
And it makes sense that he would be his
yeah,
therapist.
because well, the difference is because the old, the architect was like mathematical and scientific and fact based and like had like wouldn't stray from opinions. But the new one is he's an analyst, so he knows humans. He
Mm-hmm.
bases his stuff off of human reaction and all that instead of like point fact and all that. So
Bullet time.
bullet time.
One word. Bullet time.
Two.
That's two words. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, he was pulling the strings all along.
I mean,
Cause
I expected it.
in a way, in a way.
Like, did you expect it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
he's
mean,
literally wearing blue glasses,
blue glasses. Yeah,
and
yeah. Anything that was like color graded blue or
yeah,
like
anything blue is
anything that
like
was.
you're questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even has it at the end,
Yeah.
or like when the reveal is that he's the new architect, and he's like he takes the glasses off, like, oh, these were pointless because they were always just a facade anyway
Yeah.
to enhance the blue idea or whatever. So he'd take the pills.
Yeah. Would you like a refill on your prescription?
Yeah.
How menacing. How eerie.
Yeah.
They were just trying to keep him down. Dude, actually, okay. So, I actually kind of got triggered by some of these like mental things that he was going through, like the crazy episodes
You mean
where
like
he was
like how he was just going kind of psychotic with all like the
yeah,
the episode he was having or whatever?
yeah, it kind of like triggered me in a way, like it kind of sparked my anxiety.
Well,
How
yeah,
should I say this?
yeah, I do
Because
that.
it hit close to home in a way because I've gone through like stuff like that where I felt like I was going crazy, and then like throughout my family too, it's like there's been multiple instances. So,
Well, maybe it's just because you're in the Matrix.
bro, honestly, I feel like I'm in the Matrix sometimes.
Can you fly?
I haven't tried yet. I should
Well,
try.
Neo tried and he couldn't do it till the very end.
Okay, what doesn't make any sense is how did he not die when he jumped off that building? That was a huge building.
Which building?
The building that he worked at, where he was having his like corporate party or whatever, and then he jumped off.
Because he flew.
No, 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 no. The first time
Yes.
where he was just like,
Where he was the old man, and it would
oh, but
and it never actually showed him fall. Remember?
oh yeah, cause Bugs
Because
said he never touched the
Bugs
ground.
was still a part of the Matrix and saw him fly, and that's what woke her up.
Oh wait, cause he never tried to commit suicide. That was just the him trying
Yes,
to be
that
kept in
was
check.
their
Oh
imprint
yeah.
into his memory that, oh, he never was a suicide survivor. He woke up to a certain degree and walked off the building and flew away. But then
Yeah.
they got to him and they put him back in the loop.
Right,
And
right,
that was the
right.
new story
Okay.
that they added because they couldn't probably
Yeah,
delete his whole memory, so they
that's
manipulated it.
clicking now. That's
Yeah.
clicking.
Because she says, I've
Oh,
seen you do this before, and you didn't fall. But they don't show it until the
right.
end when he gets his mojo back.
True. And if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
And when
That's
he
what I remember.
was, when they go to, when Neo goes to confront the analyst in the coffee shop, and he
Yeah.
says, I have a handful of crew back there ready to unplug me.
Mhm.
If you get unplugged, you die. Because you have to be taken out.
Oh, you have to be
You have to be
like
sent out.
like shut down
Kind of,
in a way.
kind of. You know how they were always trying to escape to the mirrors?
Uh huh.
They need an escape point. They need an exit to actually get out of the
Oh.
Matrix. In the first 3 movies, they had to get to phones and they would answer the call and then
Oh yeah,
they'd
I
be able
do
to
remember
leave.
that.
So in this movie, they got past the point of we need to go to phone booths all the time. So it's just
Because nobody even uses phone booths in
yeah.
the real
Well,
world,
it's also
anyways.
like getting the landlines was that was a big thing in '99 or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah.
but it's like they need
But
to
I'm
get
saying
to
in now.
specific doors or windows that they can just open and go
Yeah.
through. So this was that if he wasn't brought to the exit and they just yank out the jack in his head, he dies
He
because the
dies.
mind will stay in the matrix, but the body will be released. So the body dies without the mind.
Right,
So he
right,
would
of
die,
course.
and they would lose their quote unquote biggest power source for their city.
Interesting.
So that was his side of the threat
I see.
to
I
talk to
see.
her.
I thought it was like, oh,
Oh, you'll never find me
you'll
because I'll
never get
leave.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was a little
I
bit
didn't
more.
realize that.
That's why it was so dramatic when he went to go grab the jack behind his head, and all the music was playing because because it's like yeah he's gonna die. So
Okay, so for me, this whole like this whole film was it was it was mid to me.
okay.
So
Well, if I had a feeling it was gonna be mid regardless because you didn't watch the other ones beforehand,
yes,
and half the
yes,
movie you're
that
probably
also
like this is cool, but half of it I don't understand. But
yeah,
that's
that's I
because
think
it's
that's what
number
played into it.
4 of the series. So
I think that's what played into it. But a lot of times nowadays they make movies that kind of like you can kind of understand even if you
exactly,
haven't seen the other ones.
the Wachowskis
But
do
this was not
not.
one of
The
them.
Wachowskis do not.
This one
Lana
was not one of those.
Wachowski did not do that, and I approve. Don't
Um.
make a movie for the masses. Make a movie for who you want to make it for.
Oh, I also had this comment that I wanted to say where Keanu or Neo, I should say, kind of felt like a wet noodle. Like the first half of the
Well,
movie.
yeah, he was lost. His mind was literally broken.
Yeah,
So of course,
but I thought it was interesting. I thought of that sad Keanu meme, like where he's just like on the bench or whatever,
yeah,
and he's just like downcast.
looking down, whatever. I just dropped a sandwich or something. Oh, that's another thing. I don't know.
Keanu Reeves, like has not aged really at
Oh
all in the
no,
last 20
and they
years.
talk about it a lot in real life and in this movie.
Yes,
They're like, it's been 60 years and somehow you still haven't even aged. But I mean,
it's
Carrie
funny,
Ann
dude.
Moss hasn't really aged either.
She really hasn't.
No.
She looks pretty good.
So. And
So
Niobe, on the other hand, has hit it hard.
yeah,
She's from the second 2 movies.
yeah. I mean, I was assuming that she was from some of the previous
Yeah,
ones,
she's in 2 and 3.
at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know. Like, I had some other notes that I had in my head, but I can't think of them. Do you have anything?
I'm curious if you knew who Smith was.
You mean Agent Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, the main like antagonist
Yeah.
in the first ones.
hmm
Yeah,
And how
that's
he's this other guy visually,
yeah, visually.
and how
It is interesting
it's
that they changed it up.
well, the reason they changed it is because Hugo Weaving, the actor who plays Agent Smith, was not available.
It was just simply not available.
Simply not available, and there were heavy scheduling conflicts with other things he was already doing at the time, and they could not make it work
Interesting.
after months of trying.
That's crazy.
So the only reason Agent Smith does not look like Agent Smith or act like Agent Smith is probably because they had to rewrite the
It's not
movie
Agent Smith.
and they had to rewrite it. That whole
Yeah.
character was probably way different before they found out that he wasn't
Interesting.
able to actually come back. Because the dude
Yeah.
acts nothing like Agent Smith. Nothing.
Yeah,
He doesn't.
he seemed almost like a rival, not really like an enemy.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like
Yeah.
a friendly rival
Well,
kind of
I
deal.
mean, that's their relationship as the movies go on. Like, they have
Yeah.
this charm between each other, like this banter. But deep down, Smith is just chaotic evil. Regardless, he's not going to change.
Yeah.
But that's
So
that's the one crux of this movie is it's really hard to follow up Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith when you have this guy I've never heard of try and do a version of him, which I wasn't a huge fan of. But
yeah, it didn't really hit as
it
hard.
didn't hit as hard
the
because this whole time I'm thinking Hugo Weaving is supposed to be the same character that I've seen in these last three movies, who's this just evil, but has this charm, and like the way he speaks is so specific. That's like this guy's like friendly and like calling him Tom.
yeah.
I'm like, he never called him Tom. He called him Mr. Anderson every time. So it's like that's so weird. He seems so friendly. But the way that they wrote it, that like it's this new version of the Matrix and all that, so it's like sure, I'll allow it, but it's like the one thing I wasn't a huge fan of.
What other things weren't you a huge fan of?
The Morpheus thing confused me at first because I'm like, okay, so he's an agent, and then he wakes up, but agents aren't people. So how would a program that was programmed to be an agent become a sentient or sentient? Because he should have no other programming to even be a normal human. And they show him like he's in the bathroom. He's like, that's when I first saw it, when I first woke up or whatever. When like he touches the mirror.
Yeah.
It's like agents don't live lives in the Matrix. They only appear when there's a problem, and the agents take over the form of the people in the Matrix to do what they need to do. They're not actual tangible things. They
Right.
seep into other programs or into other people that are in the Matrix to do things. So it's
Yeah.
like, so agents now are also a part of the Matrix body, which the analyst
Maybe-
explains later on,
Yeah.
which is like, why have agents have to go corrupt or go take over when everybody can just be your agent? And they can just
Yeah.
switch on a dime to become that, whatever, the swarm program that he called it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, halfway through the movie, I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense as to why he was able to wake up. Because they just turned humans into agents. But he
Yeah.
was still a program because he was one of the few that wasn't an actual human battery.
Yeah.
But that was the only
I
real
liked the
confusing.
I like
part.
the way that they had those like little nanomagnets or whatever, that represented his program outside of the
Oh
Matrix
yeah,
in the real world.
yeah. So programs could live in the real world and interact as well. Like the botanist dude that helped grow strawberries.
We're waiting on the blueberries.
What? Oh, you wait. It's like, okay. But
Yeah, that universe. Honestly, it would be interesting
cool
to
vacation.
see. Yeah, a cool vacation.
IO seems like a cool vacation, and then I'll go back home.
I'll look at it from afar.
Why? Because it's dirty. and grimy
No.
and poor and just probably is super cold and there's no real technology or anything to do.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. Yeah.
the way that you're describing it, it doesn't seem very like a fun place to visit.
Well, it's to visit, not to live. So yeah, you could leave whenever you want. You'd be like, take me to Io. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't want to be here. After a few hours, he's like, nah, never mind. Okay, I'll go home.
Do you know how how that world came to be like that?
Like, you mean like the dark skies and the machines? How they took
Yeah.
over? Yes. So this is briefly mentioned in the first movie, and then there's a animated, like it's like a film, but like it was no, it wasn't episodic. It was like an animated kind of feature that they did called the Animatrix, which shows how humanity got to this point, and then other stuff too after the movies or so. So the humans created AI,
Of
or the
course.
first robotic AI in their own image. Actual, like the movie I, Robot,
Right.
humans did that. But then
Okay.
the AI soon became like sentient and like wanted to live as people or whatever and all that. So they eventually created their own cities by themselves and evolved past humans. And then because of humanity, there was conflict, of course. The animation explains it better, but there's eventually a war between the machines and the humans because of greed and like all the evolution that goes on in the race, kind of the all the other things. Race as in like race to get to weaponry.
So the robots are racist.
Not, I mean race as in like, yes, I know. Uh, why are there wars? Because
Um,
people want power, people want to be the ones in control, people want access to things that others blah 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 blah.
that's a good answer.
Same reason with the AI and the humans. So they have this war, um, and then the humans discover that the machines are reliant on energy to survive. So they come up with this plan. It's called, let's like dark storm or some sort of plan to black out the sun on the entire Earth, so that the machines cannot get solar power to live. So then they'll all die because they need energy to live, and using solar power is the most abundant source of energy that they had it on hand.
Right.
So in order to cripple the machines during the war, they cause an entire world blackout that was permanent.
Yeah.
That was always permanent.
Wait,
But
so how did they do that?
they show in the animatrix like all these ships that are like releasing all these things into the air, and like it coagulates and it becomes like just like this layer of fog and like heavy cloud that like will just block out the sun, which is why it's always like raining or stormy there,
Yeah.
because they pretty much created this really thick layer of cloud, kind of. You can go through
Hmm.
it. They show it in the third Matrix movie that they actually they travel through the clouds momentarily, and you can see the blue sky and like the sun, and then they fall back through. So it's like it's still there. It's just it was just a cover to stop them from being able to
Right.
use solar energy. But it worked for a while, but then the machines discovered that humans give off energy just as a being. So then they started capturing humans and putting them in the pods, so then they could create these big like power plants of human batteries that would then send all of their energy to the machine cities so they can just live their lives.
Gosh,
And then we
dang.
pick up with everybody is alive because they need to be alive to give the energy, so they needed somewhere to put all the humans so they wouldn't just wake up or like rebel. So they
Mm-hmm.
created the Matrix for them to think that they're just living a normal life so they can still feed the machines their energy. But then some
Ah.
people are reject what they're given and have the questions of, okay, what is real? What, like the rumor of the Matrix is around. So that's where you get people that rebel and eventually wake up.
So they rebel inside the Matrix.
Yes, they like, it's like It's like they had in this movie. They see glimpses of something that's wrong and they pursue it.
Oh, I see.
And then
Like
they'll
the
eventually,
code.
yeah, like they see things or like things that shouldn't be real. And then they
Mm.
pursue it and they get out. And then the people that get out eventually try and help others get out and so on and so forth.
So
The people that were not
so
captured try and get others to escape or whatever.
okay. So there's part of humanity who hasn't been captured, and
Yes,
then they
well,
help also.
I am sure the Animatrix actually says this, but I would assume that because you need other people to get you out of the Matrix.
Of course.
Like, you need to take the red pill so your body can, like, start to reject the pod, and then you'll wake up, and then someone will come and, rescue you, because otherwise they would just recycle you back into it again. The machines
Right.
would. This is what happens to Neo. They show how he wakes up and they flush him and he would be killed, but then they rescue him and he's now in the real world or whatever. But
Huh.
yeah, and there's like this underground city called Zion, which is the last
Mm-hmm.
human city on Earth that has been able to hide from the machines, and that's the whole plot of the second and third movies, that the machines have found Zion. So they need to defend it and protect it and stop the Matrix from within so they can stop the machines from destroying Zion and so on and so forth. Come to like a truce, which happens at the end of the third movie. There's a truce.
Hmm.
Because Smith takes over the Matrix. He becomes all powerful after assimilating people and just creating clones of himself, that it becomes the entire Matrix. So
Yes.
Neo makes a deal with the machines to destroy Smith, and in return, people who want to leave the Matrix and live in Zion can be free. Those who want to stay may stay. But there will be a peace between Zion and the machines. And that's how
Hmm.
the trilogy ends.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's good backstory. I like that because it definitely helps fill in all the gaps.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a lot in there, but that's
I mean,
that's
we're not gonna sit here for
yeah, that's
you know.
most of what happens before the Matrix movies. So
Nice.
yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in these movies. I need to watch it again. It's actually
What would you say
taken
was like
apart.
the best or like your favorite part
The
of this one?
movie definitely got really good in the second half.
I would agree.
The moment Smith came back and they had that fight in like the ruin area, that's where it really started to gain its momentum and pick up, because it needed
Yeah.
to re-enter everybody into this world and explain all of these things, like, okay, these are why this person's different. This is why Neo is back in. He died, but he's back. Here's why. They explain all that. Here's where humanity is outside of the Matrix. Here's where everything is. This is what happened to Trinity. This is why we're doing this now. And now with all that out of the way, we can just jumpstart into what we know and recognize as what a Matrix movie is. So,
Interesting. So, my question is for Trinity
Jays.
or Tiffany, I should say.
Mhm.
When they were in the coffee shop
Mm-hmm. You
and
mean
her husband was
Simulate?
there. Yeah, Simulate. I love that name. When they were there and like her husband came to get her and like was yanking her.
Oh, at the
And then
at
she's like,
the
"No."
at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
call me Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
Always hated that name, Tiffany. How does she kind of like wake up in that
Come
moment?
out of it.
Like
Well,
what? Yeah.
she was really close to when she was talking with Neo, before
Yeah.
the analyst has her family come in to try and manipulate and pull her away.
And pull her away. Yeah.
But he kept calling her Tiffany.
Mm.
So she recognizes at some degree that this is not who she is. So that guy,
So
she knows.
so she didn't.
Go ahead.
So she didn't have to like take the red pill in order to.
No, they explain that the red pill is to get you to be ejected from your pod, without
Okay.
having to actually, like they do in the movie, break in and have her taken out. That
Right,
whole
right,
plot
right,
of the
right.
movie is so we don't have to fully convince you to take this pill. We can just have you think it, and that way
Mhm.
we can transfer you out of the pod safely. Because they
Right,
need
right,
to
right,
be
right, right.
willing to be taken out, otherwise they'll die because their mind will be left behind again, like with how you if you get yanked out.
Right. I see. I see.
So that whole intricate part of where they're breaking her out and like they pull her out of the pod, but they keep her head jacked in, but then they like connect her to Bugs, so that way she still has a tangible connection while she's being transferred into the other thing, and that's why they like do like the morphing thing at that one moment. Because they're connected through the jack while she's being taken out, because at that point she's willing.
True.
So,
yeah, like there were a couple points where I was just like, what entirely is like, how does this work?
Yeah. And I mean, she was more willing and like susceptible to it, because like you see it earlier, like when they first have their interaction, like, oh, did we meet? No, blah, blah, blah,
have
blah.
we met before?
And then when they're having their first cup of coffee and she's talking about how like all this, your game, I went back and I played your game, and it's weird because it all seems like a memory. So like she's already suspicious.
Like a memory, yeah. And
she kind of has an idea of what's going on. It's like Neo. He was skeptical about everything. So it's like they couldn't completely wipe their mind and control them, because they're the two that are the most powerful for a reason. It's because they're able to withstand all of this.
To withstand that,
and manipulate everything. So it's like it wasn't just Neo. This movie is like, okay, yeah, it's Neo. He's the one. But there's also Trinity, who's like that's a new thing, because Trinity was just Trinity. She was just like any other person of the Resistance Matrix.
Neo has his plus one.
Yeah.
It's Trinity.
Yeah. But it was like Neo was the only one that could defeat an agent. He was the only one powerful enough. He's the only one that could fly. He's the only one that could manipulate the Matrix, stop the bullets, do all that. It was only him.
Yeah, all the stopping of the bullets, it's like literally every scene. Like,
well,
once that happens,
when people shoot at you, you're gonna want to stop them. It's like you think about it, the AI, they're stupid. Yeah. They're just AI and agents. They're just gonna shoot regardless.
Yeah. So I had when the first scene was happening, and like Bugs was on the roof.
Oh, when they were in the modal.
Yeah. And then Bugs was on the roof.
Modal,
she's like,
I'm
just gonna leave, and then she just starts running, and they all start shooting at her.
Yeah.
And like, literally, how does none of the bullets hit her?
Because that's the fantasy of the Matrix, my friend.
There you go.
The Matrix is chaotic action that does not physically make sense, but it looks awesome in all of its slow-mo and coolness.
Yeah, I know it's not supposed to necessarily
well, that's
make
the
sense.
thing is it's because like there was this group of kids next to me, which sucked because they wouldn't shut up. But there was this one kid that every time something like physically impossible or like superhuman would happen, the kid would just go, "What? That doesn't work!" And like he would. It's like, obviously, kid, your parents drag you to this movie and you haven't seen the other three, because like you can explain all this like. Yeah, it's the Matrix. Anything's possible as long as you believe it to be so.
Yeah.
That's what that line is. What's he doing? He's beginning to believe. And at that moment, Neo is able to do all this crazy shit. Because it's not a real world. It's all in your mind. So if you can think it and believe it's true in your mind, it can happen. Which is why he is the one, because he has the strongest will and mind.
Yeah.
Strong enough to fly. Stop bullets and come back to life.
He was using the Force. I was like,
yeah, to an extent, yeah. They definitely turned it into like this force in this movie, because in the other movies he really only
like flung it.
Yeah, in the first three he really only stops bullets. He doesn't deflect things or like force push with this big oomph. That wasn't really a thing.
This was definitely
but
the Force
they kind of establish it when they're doing their fight.
Yeah.
In the dojo, it's like, you don't know me. And he discovers new strength because he's in this new situation.
If we're talking favorite scenes, I really loved that scene.
Oh, it's amazing.
It was really beautiful the way that it was set up. Like the whole dojo. I mean, Morpheus's clothes.
Oh,
Just
I.
what?
No, it's great. It's fantastic. Uh,
It's because he was wearing a skirt, huh?
no, it's because his outfits are fantastic in this
Just his
movie.
outfits are dope.
Freaking Yahya Abdul Mateen, who played Morpheus. He was
Yeah,
like,
he's good.
it was good because like he had like this jovial fun that Morpheus did not have. Morpheus was this
Yeah, no, Morpheus was
Morpheus
serious.
was this serious prophecy believer, like monk sensei, super serious, and like every time he spoke, it was like he was like reciting some sort of monologue because that's just who he was. But I like this
Yeah,
version of this Morpheus because or Morpheus even explains it. It's like, I'm not Morpheus. I'm something that you wrote, a combination of Morpheus and Agent Smith.
yeah,
So he's like this different. He's got that like funny, charismatic banter without all of the evil chaos that Smith had, but he's still Morpheus and he could be cool and stoic and wise.
yeah.
And then he's got the suit on and they go into the construct. He's like, I've just been hanging out. Welcome to the crib. And he gets up and he does a little dance and he makes himself a drink and he's like, well, and then everything changes and then he like his clothes change but he still keeps his drink when they're in the dojo and then he
Mm-hmm.
throws it. So I enjoyed Yaya in this because I was expecting like, oh, it's just maybe it's like a younger version of Morpheus that they're like playing with there because Morpheus is dead.
Right,
He
right.
dies in between the movies, so it's like, but to have him be like, oh no, this is the program that Neo wrote while he was still asleep, but his mind was still working to create the games, so he created the modal of the
Yeah,
opening of the first Matrix movie or whatever as like quote unquote test, but that's his mind working against his own mind to wake himself up. So it's cool.
right.
Um,
Yeah, Morpheus was probably my favorite character in this whole movie.
yeah, he's fun. Apparently Yaya wanted to come in with red hair. He wanted to
Really?
have red hair and like just be really different. And Lana said like, no, we're not going to go that far. We're going to go different. A different Morpheus, but we're not going to go that far. So
Right.
it's like you still need to
Yeah.
be bald. You still need to have that look so people can recognize.
Yeah.
But
Right.
also, there's a lot you can do with just outfits and how you act. Because
Yeah, the outfits were so good.
Morpheus always wore a really long black leather like scale coat,
Yeah.
like alligator scale coat, black, and the green tie and the purple vest. Always wore that. But this one's like, no, let's have some fun. Let's wear some cool clothes and all that. So
Yeah, and then Bugs had the blue hair, which
yeah,
was interesting.
but only when she was in
In the
because
Matrix,
it's
yeah.
the self perception. This is what you see yourself as. While you're in the Matrix, this is who you see yourself as.
Interesting.
Because like when they get jacked in, they're bald. They have no hair. When you're in the pod, you
Right.
don't have hair.
Right.
In the first movie, Keanu shaved his eyebrows and shaved his head.
Yeah, I
But
saw
then
that.
when he gets jacked in, he's got his hair. So it's like it's your self-image of what you see yourself as in your mind that is projected in the Matrix. Which is why Shepard,
What would yours look like?
I'd probably look the same. Honestly, I'd probably be wearing like cooler clothes, but
Yeah.
my hair would probably be either this or the long hair of like the perfect length, depending
Yeah.
on when I
I
went into the Matrix. If I went into the Matrix in high school, I'd have my long hair. If I went into the Matrix and the machines took over college post, I'd just look like this. I
I
wouldn't.
would
I
I
don't
would
think I'd
want
change myself that much. How I see myself.
I would
don't think I
want
see
the
myself that much different.
I would want like long hair
Yeah.
and like a beard, like
Yeah.
a bigger beard.
hmm
Like let me think. Jason Momoa. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but
Well, the thing is you'll picture it, and then it'll look the best it ever would because you would imagine it perfect.
right.
So it doesn't matter. It wouldn't be like, oh, that's too long. It would be the perfect length for you.
True, true, true. But yeah, I definitely want long hair. I was doing my hair the other night and I put like a little
Yeah, I
top
saw
knot
your
on here.
post. Your stupid top knot.
I used to do that all the time back in the day
Oh,
when my hair was long.
yeah.
Well, longer, but finally getting to that stage where it's like I got some flow on it,
Hmm.
but it's still straight as all heck.
Yeah. There
Yeah,
were.
having.
Go ahead. You were talking about hair. I was gonna move
Uh,
on.
well, yeah, no, I'm still talking kind of about the image that I would
Yeah,
have.
go ahead, because
I
I
would
was
want,
gonna bring
I would
something up.
want maybe a little bit of a wave in my hair,
Yeah.
you know, because my hair is way too straight.
Okay.
But then yeah, I would also probably have some like dope ass like suit or something.
Yeah, it's like
That'd be
I'll have a
dope.
cool suit. I would definitely have a black trench coat. I know that. I wouldn't have a tie. I'd have
No, who needs ties?
some cool boots or sneakers. Black trench coat.
But
It's
also,
just cool.
okay, so
Glasses make
what's
everybody cooler. I'm sorry, but they do.
what is the better option at this point though? Like think of living in the Matrix or living in the dystopian future, like
That is the
outside of the
question
Matrix.
of the movies, my friend.
Like
Choice. It's a
choice.
matter of choice, not a matter of what's better. Because that's what happens throughout the movies. It's like some people don't care. They'd rather live in the Matrix because it's a better choice for them. But some
Yeah.
people want to be free because the choice is like, I'd rather be free than be this slave pod for a machine
Mhm.
or whatever. So it's like the whole movie's about choice and the choices you make. They've always been
Yeah,
like that. So.
I understand that, but like how much more of a choice do you have outside? Like
Well,
it's so much
not a
harder
matter
to do
of
anything.
how much more or what you can do. It's a matter of what you perceive as reality and perception of, is this really a life? If I know that this is fake and I'm living my days out in something that's just not real, is that a life? Or would you rather live in the real world and, hey, still go visit this fun world, but also fight to stay and have that freedom and that choice?
Okay, so when you put it like that, is like live in the real world, but also you can visit this.
Well, you
other
can.
world,
You
the
see it in the
Matrix.
movies. They
Well,
don't
yeah,
live
of
in
course.
it. They
They
go
don't
in
live in
there
it, but
they go in it to keep fighting, because the longer that they're in it, they can be found by the machines because it takes energy and it gives off a radial like energy that they can detect. Which is
Yeah.
why in the first three movies they're always running from the octopus floaty fly things, the sentinels.
Yeah.
So like they can only be in for so long or they'll be found. They have to keep moving
True.
and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, you can go in and have some
True,
fun,
true.
but you can't live there per se.
But then it comes like, okay, if I can go into this world and it's beautiful and I have all the things I need in there and like I don't have to worry about really anything versus coming out and not having anything and having to worry about everything. I don't know. I feel like
You feel like you'd be a pawn?
I'd probably I mean,
Hell no.
the thing is I love choice. I love choice.
You
Don't
love
get me wrong.
choice, but you want the easy one.
I mean, I feel like it would be easier
Don't
to
walk
just
around
be
it.
in the
You want the
Matrix.
easy one.
No, I'm not walking around it. I'm
Yeah, I
getting
know,
to the
but I'm
point.
just making it clear that Mark wants the easy way out.
I mean, when I look at my options, the dystopian future around me, that would,
I'd still
that
rather
wouldn't-
have that than be some fucking battery.
I mean, if it got to that point, if it got that bad, I mean,
All right, Elon, don't touch AI ever. Will
um,
Smith showed us first. It didn't work out.
right? I don't think it would ever get that bad.
Actually, no. Will Smith did not show us first. The freaking Matrix showed us. 99.
Was the Matrix before?
Yes, it was in 99.
When was iRobot?
Early 2000s.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think that
2004.
I don't think it would ever get to a
Came
point.
out after all three Matrix movies.
Oh wow!
So,
Why did it take them this long to make another one?
because it ended. The story ended.
Why did they bring it back then?
Because there's a
Money.
story that the director wanted to tell.
I guess so.
They talk about it in the movie. They poke fun at it throughout it. They're like, why bring back a 20-year-old video game Why? For profit, of course.
True.
So it's like they're poking fun at themselves, but within that,
You're
they
right.
still
You're
tell a
totally right.
very nice story. That it wasn't needed, but it adds to the weight of the first three in a nice way.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the perfect sequel that people would have wanted, it's a interesting version for a modern world version of
Do you
like a
think that
Matrix.
they're gonna? Do you think that they're gonna continue this in any sort of way?
Um,
Like not necessarily like a continued
like
series
a
of like the
continued
sequels.
series about like Neo and Trinity fighting the rest of the machine
Yeah,
world.
like not necessarily
Well,
even
it's
that,
like the
but
first just you mean like spin-offs within the Matrix and all that?
possibly. Like what do you think the
Yeah.
future for the
I mean,
Matrix
the
is at this
freaking
point?
the Merovingian mentions it, but yeah, you don't even know who that is. The Merovingian. He was a rogue program that was exiled in the system, but found his way to not be exiled and harbored every other exile program. He was in the second two movies, and he was a major role in things that needed to be asked for and traded and all that. The when they have the fight in like the warehouse, and there's the long beard guy that's like kind of crazy, and like he's got this weird
Mm-hmm.
French accent. That's the
I kind of liked
Merovingian.
him.
That's the
Oh,
Merovingian.
nice.
So he was eventually, I guess, found and exiled, but Smith brought the exiled programs out of their hole to fight the rest of the crew while he handled Neo.
Yeah.
So that I will say that I wasn't a huge fan of this version of Smith, but there were moments that really worked that are pretty much just nostalgia based, kind of. But it's like you could like the seeds are there even if it's different, which is like it really worked well in the trailers. Um, which is where he was standing out the window and he goes, "All those people living out their lives, oblivious or whatever." That's
Mm-hmm.
the same line that Agent Smith has to Neo in the first. Oh, I know. He has it. No, Agent Smith says it to Morpheus in the first Matrix movie. So that like he played that line very well. I'm like, oh, this is yeah, I can totally see Smith in this guy. But then as the movie went on, he was like he became his own thing once he quote unquote woke up again. Because even
Yeah.
Smith had to be freed.
Yeah.
Because Smith was freaking eradicated at the end of the third one. So, but the bit in the when the sprinklers turn on and they're fighting in the the skyscraper or whatever,
And
and
he's
then,
like,
like he
Mr.
looks down,
Anderson.
he sees everything that's happening, and he's breaking and he's starting to wake up, and become Smith, and he sees the gun,
Right.
and that is the gun. The agents always carried those freaking Desert Eagles
Mm.
everywhere. That's the only thing they use. They didn't use machine guns or nothing. They used those Desert Eagles or they fought with their fists. So he picks it up, and the moment he grabs it, there's like this. I don't know how to describe it. So I'm saying there's a Matrix sound effect that happens
Mm.
like he clicks on, like he wakes up, and then he screams, "Mr. Anderson!" Like he realizes where he is and what's been happening, and he wakes up and just that was a good scene. That whole bit
Mm.
from the moment the evacuation started to that ending bit. And then when Neo's on the roof and he's gonna jump again, and Bugs grabs him, he's like, "No, no, 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 come with me." That whole scene, that
He's like, I can fly. Just free your mind.
yeah,
And
he's like,
he's like
just
about to jump.
free your mind. It's easy. It's all right. And he's like in sweats and a beanie and like a jacket, long jacket. It's like cool. Keanu looks comfy.
Yeah.
But that scene where she's like explaining to him, and then he takes, well, he doesn't take the pill, but like, and then he sees the rabbit on her arm.
That was a
Which,
cool scene too in like the theater.
yeah,
That was a sick scene.
that whole sequence was really great. That's where I started to really enjoy it more. After the initial, okay, this is really confusing. I'm not sure where they're going with this. I don't know if this is gonna work, and then it really started working at that point for me, at least. But that scene, I was like, oh, you're hitting me with emotions because of the music. Was so nostalgic and like the explanations that they were giving him, and like just the way that the scene built to him actually going through the door of white light, which is another thing from the previous movies. So it's like this movie ramps and ramps and ramps and pays off, and ramps and ramps and ramps and pays off like multiple times, which is really nice. Because
So basically, what you're telling me is that I should go back and watch the first 3 movies.
yeah, and then watch this again, and you'll probably really enjoy it.
Yeah, I probably should have done that before.
There is, I mean, I can understand why they showed the actual, like the flashback bits from the movies, like when
I liked that actually.
yeah, but I liked it to the point of where like they were showing it on the screen, or like it was within the movie. It wasn't like let's cut away to this same scene.
Yeah.
Like when he was saying the living out their lives oblivious, and then it cuts to Smith saying it, and then it cuts back.
Yeah.
Or when Trinity leaves the coffee shop and she looks back, and it cuts to a scene from the second Matrix movie, her looking the same way, and then it cuts back. Like, as someone who has seen the movies, I already recognize those callbacks and those quote-unquote deja vu moments. So
Deja vu.
I don't think they needed to be in there, but I can understand why they did it, because they needed to make the connections for those who were unsure and not as like pinpointed like I am with remembering all those things. And it helps for people, who haven't seen it. It's like, oh, that person's probably that same person because they're saying the same line in the same frame. So
yeah.
I understand why they did it. I think it's kind of tiptoeing the audience with you as you go, but that's for someone who didn't need it. That's why I didn't care for it. But I'm sure you probably liked it because it was something that was kind of new to you and kind of helped.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go into this movie completely blind. Like, I did watch a movie theory video on it, and also I watched a little bit of the first one.
Yeah, well, that's the one that everybody remembers the most.
Yeah,
which I mean, they pulled most of their stuff from the first one as far as like visual references and stuff. But like, there were a lot of background stuff, like in Smith's like executive office where he has the meeting with him. And there's like this bust in the background of someone like getting their face punched in. That is a bust of the actual Agent Smith,
the first one,
getting punched in the third movie. Because there's this whole bit in the final fight where Neo's punch goes slow motion into Agent Smith's face, and it does this slow mo like effect in the frame. So it's like they just took a bust of it and they put it on the back. Because it's like it's all the game. It's all the game merch. It's all the merch from the game and all the statues that they came out with and stuff. So that was a really easy way to throw callbacks and nods to stuff that they didn't have to directly reference.
Yeah.
But music was great. Sounded very Matrixy to me. It was not the same composer. I'm not sure why it wasn't the same composer. Either they didn't want to come back, or maybe they died. I don't know who did the original composing. Let me look.
You know what would have been like cheesy but also kind of funny?
Yes.
Is if they included one of those like lean back scenes, how they had in the the previous one, the first one. I think it was the first one, right? Where he did like the lean back with the bullets.
Yeah, bullet time. Yeah, the first one.
Bullet time. Is that what bullet time is?
Yeah, when it goes slow mo. Bullet time is the effect that they created where it goes slow-mo and the camera spins around the person completely.
Yeah.
And it's like the same frame, but they spin around in either slow motion or freeze frame. That's called bullet time. That effect or that kind of shot is bullet time. That's slow-mo time.
So, okay, I have a question. I don't know if you know this, but when they were shooting that scene with the analyst and Keanu,
like
in
how
the
Keanu's
bike
moving
shop.
slow and he's moving quick.
Yeah,
he's probably Compton separate.
Compton.
He's probably Compton separate.
That makes
like
the most sense.
He's either they did probably plate shots of Keanu acting by himself in full motion, and then they're able to slow him down or whatever, because everything slows down except for the analyst. So how I would think it is that he's not actually there for the Keanu's shots, and then he's
Yeah.
doing the scene by himself on the same set or by himself on a green screen possibly. So they can put him in
Yeah.
and like manipulate his movements separate from Keanu's and all that. So that would be
Yeah.
my
Okay.
guess, but
I think what you're saying, it makes the most sense, is that they would film it on the same set but just separate scenes and then just comp them in.
either same set and comp them together, or Neil Patrick
Green
Harris
screen.
on a green screen, but they have to get the exact same camera angles.
Yeah.
Or they did it, which I know they were credited in the credits, which was Unreal Engine. And Unreal Engine uses VR and all that stuff too, it's just a pretty new thing for movies and stuff, which is using like the volume that they call it, which is what The Mandalorian uses. That room, the volume,
Yeah.
yeah, which is the screen, so they can adjust to camera and all that. So they could have used that, because they probably did use Unreal, and then because Unreal is you can create a space and then take a camera and then move it throughout that space, but you would only see it on that screen. You don't need to have an actual set because it's all in game engine. So you can just move the camera around a set, but it moves around in the actual world on the camera or whatever. So
Yeah.
they probably use that in some way too.
So we really are going to the Matrix?
I mean, I wouldn't mind, looking cool and flying around, but
If you truly believe.
if you believe, and if you don't,
Hey, I mean, we could fly
Splat.
around.
yeah, but like I want to wear my trench
jetpacks
coat and have
soon.
it flap in the wind as I just look stoically and move.
Dude, honestly, probably in the next, I want to say next 15 years,
We're gonna be able to fly without
we're
planes.
gonna have jetpacks.
Sure, I mean,
Like I think it's gonna be a fairly
sure,
well-known thing.
sure. That doesn't interest me though. I want to be able to propel my body without any sort of force besides my own willpower.
That's probably never gonna happen.
No, it's not.
Maybe in your dreams.
No, it's not.
Maybe in your dreams.
Yeah.
Or your nightmares. Because I think I've had nightmares where I've been flying.
Wow, you have very odd nightmares.
Well, okay, so
I don't really
Let me
have
tell you why.
nightmares.
let me tell you why. It was a long time ago, and it was this dream where I was flying over the ocean, and there was like, it was kind of like a storm, and then there was like this huge hotel structure in the middle of the ocean, and then I was like on top of it, and then I jump off of it, and then I go close to the water, and then this like shark comes up and eats me,
Wow,
but I was flying in it. So
cool. And then you also just died.
yeah.
That's cool.
But the cool thing is, in dreams, if you die, you just wake up.
Dream, 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 dream.
You're losing
Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Close your eyes, shut your mouth, dream a dream and get us out. Dream, 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 dream.
me. I might have to go back and watch
No,
it.
you
I don't remember.
It's Taylor Lautner singing a song on a green screen.
Beautiful. You mean
He's like-
Caleb?
No, he's like 12 in the movie. Oh, Kayla. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There was one more thing I wanted to ask about. Did you recognize the end credits song?
I did not listen to the end credits. Actually, I skipped over it.
Oh. Go do it right now. Actually, no,
I
I'll
can't.
do it. I'll do it because I'm actually logged in.
Oh, okay. So I couldn't log into your account, so I had to make a whole new account and like get a trial.
Oh, okay.
But I canceled it already.
Yeah, well, now you have a month of HBO Max, so you can watch, the other 3 movies.
Well, I canceled it already.
Well, you should still get your...
I can still go back and resubscribe.
You just have to use a different email, yeah.
No, I can still use the same email. It's like 24 hours, and then I can.
Oh, they give you time to actually go back if you make a mistake. Like, are you sure?
Well, what I did was I went through Hulu. So I signed up on Hulu, and then through Hulu, like basically when you select your TV provider on HBO Max, you select Hulu, and then you log in with your Hulu details,
Yeah.
and then you can yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But first you got to like add the HBO Max to the Hulu account.
Yeah. Okay.
I found a workaround way because I was just not gonna be like, hey, actually I can't log in. I was like, let me just figure it out
Yeah. Okay.
because he's already in the
I'm
movie.
already in the theater. Yeah. Okay. So I
Ooh,
wonder if you can
cricket
hear this
noises.
because you won't be able to see it. Can you hear
Okay.
this? Did you hear any of that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, so you can hear it.
Yeah.
But the screen's black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's stupid HBO Max blocking my screen share. But see if you can recognize the song. This is the ending song to the movie.
Oh yeah, it was like a Rage Against the Machine song or something like that, but it was like
It
a cover.
is. It's a cover, yeah.
This is not Killing in the Name of
No, it's called Wake Up.
Wake Up. Okay.
It's the same song that plays at the end of the first Matrix movie. But at
not
the
a
end
cover.
of the first Matrix movie, it's the actual song, it's not the cover
Yeah.
for this movie. With that whatever, I don't know what band that is. That was a female voice though. But yeah. I walked out of the theater, I'm like, yeah, man. Rage Against the Machine. These machines.
Rage.
It's okay, you haven't seen the movie anyway. I was quoting
Bro.
the second Matrix movie when, bless you,
Thanks.
when Morpheus has a monologue to Zion and he talks about, we've been fighting these. And then he pauses and he goes, machines! And the way he says it is so great but funny. Anyway. Well,
Anyway.
do you have any other
Well.
thoughts? Besides the women
Yeah.
on your phone and your contacts? Any other thoughts?
Oh, I was like, what are you saying? Any other thoughts? So, knowing the backstory a little bit more, at least from the conversation we had just now, it makes me want to delve deeper into the other films. So I might actually do that at some point, and maybe I'll revisit this, or maybe I won't. Who knows?
Well,
Maybe-
that's your
maybe
own
it'll just be
prerogative.
Yeah. But knowing more about the film helps me appreciate it more.
Well, of course.
So, yeah.
When you know context, it makes things a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, context is always great to have.
Even if it's like a 3-song LP.
Yeah. Or an EP.
Oh, yeah,
that matter.
EP. Whoops. Whatever.
Oh, speaking about EPs, if you're listening to this on the day that it's supposed to drop, which is Christmas.
On Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Do you like our colors? Do you like our colors?
Merry Christmas.
Oh.
We have red and green.
Welcome, everybody.
To the What Are We Talking About podcast,
To the end
episode
of the
32.
What Were We Talking About podcast, episode 32.
How did we forget?
I thought it
How
would
did
be
we
funny.
forget?
I kept remembering, but I'm like, oh, there's no good point. So I'm like, let's just wait and see if it happens at the very end. And it did. So welcome to the end of episode 32, everybody. Mark's going to tell you something.
Oh, basically, I wanted to say that we were talking about EP. My EP is out as of now, as of the release of this video. So go check it out. We're going to play a little bit at the very end of this episode.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Hunter, please put it in with the edit.
Hey, as long as you send me a song, I'll put it in.
Yeah, I'll send you the songs. You can choose which one.
So, the song you're hearing right now is one of what songs? What are the...
One of five songs from
Name all
from
five.
the LDM.
Name all five.
It's the first one is High Tide. Second is Icarus. Then it's Remember Me. Then Autumn Fall. Then Night Show.
I will not be using High Tide or Icarus because you guys have already heard those because I've already used them in outros because I have.
Hey yo.
So, Icarus,
That's fine.
if you want to know Icarus, it is the song that I used on the Eternals episode because there was a character called Icarus and I thought it was funny.
Smart.
High Tide, I don't remember which one I used it on, but it'll be one of the other three that you're hearing right now because this is the end of the episode. And a Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. Happy Hanukkah or Happy Kwanzaa.
Hanukkah's already over.
Yeah, but it's a holiday episode. Or Happy Kwanzaa, which is technically tomorrow if you're listening to this on the 25th, right? And
I
if
don't know when
you
it is,
celebrate
dude.
none of those, Happy New Year next week.
I think we're dropping one on New Year's
We
too, right?
are. So whatever
Oh,
happens
okay, so
that week.
before all this EP talk, disregard all that. What I wanted to ask was, what are you doing for Christmas?
You're gonna ask me now? After
We
I
have
just
2
did an
minutes.
outro?
We have 2 minutes.
Now the
to discuss
song's
real
still
quick.
playing? This is
not
a
still
long
playing.
song.
Just
I'm gonna
take
have to
the
loop
song
it.
off.
No, I can't because I said the song you're hearing right now. The song's still playing in the background.
You can have the song play for a second and then turn it off.
No,
And then play it again at the end.
But Christmas, we do the same thing we do every year. We wake up Christmas morning. We go through our stockings. We grab all of the gifts that we have. We stay in our PJs and our whole extended family, aunts, cousins, grandparents, my family. We go to my grandma's and my grandfather's house. We all have breakfast. We have breakfast quiche that my grandmother makes. Breakfast quiche and a whole bunch of danishes and eggnogs
Nice,
and
nice.
orange juice, and then we all sit down in our PJs and open gifts together, and then everybody either goes home and gets ready and dresses a little bit nicer and then comes back and we have dinner as well, or we just bring our clothes with us and we stay and we change, and then we have dinner, and then we go home.
Do you guys go anywhere to see like some lights or anything like that?
No, not the family. No, not that. I mean, me and Sophie went on last Tuesday. No,
Oh.
last Tuesday, last week.
Yeah, I was like, Tuesday was
the
yesterday.
14th, right?
Should have been, yes.
I think my sister went last week as well. And then my mom does stuff with her friends too. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gone to see any lights, and I don't think I'm going to.
I mean, you can look up pictures of Christmas lights and Christmas lighthouses that are decorated very nice. So
Yeah.
you could always look up YouTube videos of like Christmas neighborhoods, and you can watch people walk around with a camera because there's probably those types of people that do that.
True.
So you can do that too. But
Um,
you're going out of town for Christmas.
Actually, I wanted to say the plan actually changed. The
Wow.
family we were going to see caught COVID.
Wow.
So we're no longer going.
So why didn't you say something? Because we could have just,
Um,
not recorded tonight.
Was it an issue that
No,
you had to
I
record
just
tonight?
figured like when was this canceled?
I think I found out about it yesterday,
Oh, okay.
like last night, and
Okay.
I didn't think it would really matter.
No, it doesn't. I was gonna.
Because I mean, we're gonna record today, so I was like,
Yeah.
he probably already.
Yeah, it's nice though because
time
I have a
aside.
few days to actually put it together.
So yeah, they caught COVID, which is unfortunate, but I'm
Yeah.
actually really relieved because I did not want to travel because traveling has just been really hard for me recently, and
Well,
I've had to travel.
When you're driving,
Well, yeah, when I'm driving, but even when I'm not driving,
you just go to sleep.
yeah, but that's not always the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, for Christmas, we actually celebrate Christmas on the 24th, so the night of December 24th,
You actually
Christmas
do
Eve.
everything.
We do everything.
Oh.
So we have like a dinner, we'll have like presents, we'll kind of just chill out. We'll probably watch like a Christmas movie, and yeah, like I don't know, Home Alone or some other Christmas movie. Who knows? We always do something
Yeah.
little like that. But we might make cookies again. My sister made cookies the other night,
There you go.
and I did not get to taste them. They actually disappeared before I had a chance
Well,
to. So
That's a shame.
it is
Next
kind of a shame.
year, or next time she makes cookies, just take them all.
I don't even like sweets though. That's the thing.
But you're a disgrace then.
That's not even the right word you should use for that.
Yeah, it
instance.
is. You are a disgrace because you do not like cookies.
That's not how it works.
It is in my mind.
That's an opinion.
That's a fact
Okay.
for my opinion.
Anyways, so yeah, Christmas is gonna be nice, and then
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna be in my PJs.
Cool.
I have some nice Christmas
your
PJs. but
fancy sweats. those things. Look at those feet. Wiki feet, everybody. Put them on wiki feet. Give them 5 stars or 2. I don't care.
Anyways, we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, the song's been going long enough.
No, the song. Don't have it.
It's gonna be there. It's there. You can hear it. You can hear it bumping. Listen to that music. Listen to it. All go. Right. Look at that.
Anyways.
Yeah.
This has been episode 32 of What Were We Talking About.
It has.
And we really do appreciate you coming by.
On Christmas.
Yeah.
If you're actually here listening to your 2 favorite bros during the holidays, happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
And the Kwanzaa and the Hanukkah or nothing. And if you just get the day off because of work, that's cool too. I don't care.
And we're out.
As long as you listen, I don't care. And you better listen next week for the not special New Year's podcast because we have nothing to talk about at the moment. So we'll figure it out.
We're totally revamping the entire podcast for next year.
Yes. No, that's what we'll do. Our New Year's episode for next week, we will redo every episode within the hour.
But also New Year's resolutions.
I don't do those. I just do them when I think of them. So.
Same.
Goodbye. I'm done.
Bye.
We'll see you next week. Adios.
All right, ciao.